Phoenix Down Radio is on the air. With your hosts,
Klauss Nightbringer,
Seyrr Kimono,
Chille,
and Luna Vox.
Welcome everybody to Phoenix Down Radio, episode 90. Wow, 90 guys. Can you believe it?
Whoa, look at us. We're nearly at the triple digits.
We're getting close. How's everybody doing tonight?
I am okay. How
I'm
about
actually
you?
doing pretty decent.
Glad to hear it. But yeah, what we were talking about pre-show, I decided to go ahead and get Kieran's Osode of aiming, and Seyrr's having flashbacks.
I also bought my striking one.
You're at least not wearing an optical hat with it.
Because
I want it, but it's so
hard to
rare.
get.
It's actually ridiculously rare.
It's ridiculously difficult to get because you have to get 6 eyes from bunny chests in Pagos. Then you have to create the cluster, which is actually like a soup-looking thing, and then you have to just have it in your inventory? Do you have to use it on Hakutaku thingy, whatever?
I don't know. I'm not actually ever seen it.
But then you have a chance of getting your O hat.
Yeah.
It's RNG on RNG on RNG.
RNGs.
Speaking of other things that everybody loves, how about daylight savings time, guys?
Yeah.
Oh, forky fork.
Remember, if you're watching this live, daylight savings time is Sunday morning, 2 a.m. It goes right to 3 a.m. Boo.
Unless you live in Arizona or Hawaii or not the United States, in which case, good job.
Hey, we get daylight savings time as well.
Really?
Just
what?
Yeah.
What the fuck were you guys thinking?
Yeah, ours is at the end of the month though.
Yeah, ours got moved back a little while ago.
Yeah.
California passed a thing such that we might be getting rid of it soon. I certainly hope so.
It would be nice if they would just standardize and go away with it, but until they do that, you need to make sure that you set your clocks ahead accordingly. Otherwise, you're going to be late. You're going to be late for work on Monday.
Wait, ahead?
Yes. For us, we go from 2 a.m. to 3 a.m.
So you move it 1 hour forward.
Yep.
Technically, I'd be late for work on Sunday, but also technically I don't work until 1 p.m. Sunday, so...
You're going to have to remind me on next time we record then, otherwise I'm going to be confused.
Don't worry, I'll let you make sure that you're aware of when we start. So I'll be like, Chille, we
yeah,
start in 5
that's gonna
minutes.
be a thing for a bit, isn't it?
Yep. Until they adjust at the end of the month.
Fun times.
It's because of farmers, isn't it, Rory?
It's
because of farmers.
It has a complicated history. And at this point, it's kind of just happening because inertia is hard.
Yeah, a lot of it had to do with wartime reasons.
Yeah.
So.
Also, it's a complete lie outside America because in England it's called the British summertime. Who's ever heard of a British summer?
That sounds so made up.
I know.
All right, so a little bit of upcoming show news, just so you guys are aware. The next episode will be coinciding with Tokyo Fan Fest and the producer from the letter live. So because of that, we don't want you guys to miss out on it, and we want to be able to report on it properly. So we will be going live 30 minutes after the end of the producer live letter on the 23rd. Yep. So we'll be able to.
We do need at least a little time to process everything that was.
And Seyrr needs some time to kind of calm down from being a giddy little schoolgirl.
Hey, I do not do that type of thing about people.
Well, you will for what he talks about.
Yeah, you will.
I'll be like, that's really interesting. Huh.
No, you're right. Oh my god, there is a thing.
Yes.
I don't do that. I do the, interesting. That's my thing.
He's just not admitting it.
Oh my god,
the hog graph.
All on fire.
All right.
That's your thing. That is your thing. I know that.
All right. The next week will be Anime Detour. And since I'm going to be hosting a panel on podcasting, my plan is if I'm able to, I want to stream that live during my my panel. So that will be at 10:30 a.m. Central Time on Saturday, March 30th. if you're going to be in attendance, like Kane or Nick Nar, I look forward to seeing you guys there. Otherwise, hopefully we'll see you on Twitch. And then the week after that, I have a work thing on Saturday. Boo. So we will be moving the podcast that week to Friday, April 5th. Normal time. So I just want to make sure you guys are aware of our upcoming changes to our schedule, and we want to make sure that we can see you live. And yeah, because we love having you guys around. So that's the show news. What have you guys been up to the last 2 weeks?
I had job interviews. I've got a second interview for one of them, so very hopeful on that.
Hooray!
This is the first time I've logged into games since the last show, honestly.
That's okay. As long
No,
as
it
you
isn't. Judge me so much. I'm failing somehow.
Really, to be honest, in my opinion, it's that as I said on Moogle Go Round recently, it's that time of the year where it's just like a little bit dead.
Yeah.
People will come back soon to try the new main story in Hildebrand, but that won't take long. So,
yeah. Last time around, when it was leading up to Stormblood, I spent the time capping off jobs, other stuff like that, but I haven't felt as obligated to do that this time.
By the way, I'm still saying that the new pre-order earrings will give a bonus to 71. Not at 71, but 70 to 71.
So you think it'll help us for that bit too?
Because if you read them, it says these earrings work from level 70 and below.
Seems reasonable.
So, we will see. What about you, Chille? What have you been up to the last 2 weeks?
Not much, really. I've tried to do some BA, but I never really find groups at right times for me.
Yeah. I want to talk.
This is my KK. This is my Hyperion character. Yeah. And yesterday, because I'm a crazed maniac, someone on Twitter asked if they would run. I said because I've been trying to do Pass the Dead for a while now. I wanted to reach 200 at least once. So I've joined a few groups in the past and not really made it. Anyway, someone who's done it before said that they were going to run it with me yesterday. So we ended up running Palace of Dead for about 8 hours. 8 hours. And I finished at like 5 a.m. my time.
Finished the delve?
We got to 193 in white.
Womp womp.
Yeah.
That's
better than what I'd previously done, so I'm not going to be angry about that. So,
it reminds me that this came up when someone was asking a question about something else lore-wise. Yeah. I found out that I believe there's still only one person who has gotten the Necromancer title from doing that delve 1 to 200 solo.
And I believe it's a red mage.
Yep.
But some good news though. The healer got the mount from the gold sack, and then after they got it, I got it. So I got the 9 Pegasus whistle.
So Chille is rich, confirmed.
Nice.
Now what I'm going to do with that whistle, I don't know yet, because I've already told myself that if I use it, I know that I'm going to be sad because that's like 30 to 40 million gil.
But what else are you even going to do with the money?
Buy a house.
I only have a small house, so I would like a bigger house one day. So, and it would also pay for gear for my raid. Yeah, my raid stuff when the Shadowbringers hits.
Fair.
So, Chille the Slum. Yeah, if I sold it, my dream of making a love hotel could be a real thing.
Oh my.
Oh.
That's my dream, okay? Don't take it away from me. I want to make a mansion that is a love hotel.
And
that's
Seyrr's
problematic. No, I've just noticed that.
I mean, there would be no actual stuff like that. I just want the look of it.
I'm trying to get Chloe to stand somewhere better.
Well, right now Chloe's standing in the couch.
We're working on it.
And then he's going to have all raw retainer and people in this house. So
Chille's House of Lalafell. Yes, that'll be the.
No, it's going to be a Chille's extension of the House of Zayla.
Oh my God! No! No!
He's gonna
Why is it still a
We're
thing?
gonna franchise it.
No, who
Why
was
is
that?
it still a thing?
Wait, who was the mercenary again from 11? I can't remember.
Naja Salahim.
Yeah, because we know that she sold things to afford the mercenaries originally. So
Wait, what?
don't you remember the NPCs that talked about how she used to do stuff when she was
No.
younger? Yeah, they used
Not
to.
like that.
Yeah, that she was. There was a couple of female NPCs that would talk near the Aether, the crystal to teleport in.
They talked about how there were rumors about her.
Yeah, but
about
come on.
Well, I mean, if you get to a high enough rank and you can actually find out the truth behind them, and it's not that.
All right.
Oh my God, you're the worst.
And anything else, Chille?
I did a couple more BA runs. I got AV down to 23%. So, not cleared it yet. Maybe sometime in the future.
Very cool. Well, in the last 2 weeks, I've actually done quite a bit of things. Notably, we went to Distant Worlds last week, and it was amazing. We met up with Nicknar and Yelta and Ulf. Yelta from Gather Together and her husband, as well as our friend Saito and Lilith Akagi from Hyperion here. They joined us, and we went to Rock Bottom Brewery, where we met up with some other people, and we had some food and some beers beforehand. I had a lot of people really enjoy my Red Mage cosplay at the show. That was a lot of fun. Got a lot of people taking my pictures, talked with a lot of cool people. Some people who are going to be at Detour, so we're going to see them then as well. And then on Saturday, we went and did a Brazilian brunch at Fogo de Chão and ate lots
What makes
and
it
lots
Brazilian?
of meat. Because Fogo de Chão, what makes the brunch Brazilian?
Yes.
The fact that it's at a Brazilian churrascaria.
It's all shaven.
No,
All the
Chille.
meat is shaven. That's how it's a Brazilian.
Well, you're technically not.
You're technically correct, but bad.
For those of you who've never been to like Fogo de Chão, they bring out meat on these huge skewers and they slice it off for you tableside, and it is.
There's a couple
delicious.
Brazilian steakhouse houses around here that I have really wanted to go to. That stuff's not cheap though.
No, but it was so worth it. It was delicious.
Oh yeah.
Then I've started doing some Baldesian Arsenal runs as well. We actually got past Absolute Virtue, and I got to see Ozma.
Nice.
So we got I didn't get my conditional virtue minion though.
I still love that name.
Isn't it cute?
It
But
is.
I have started working on upgrading some of my gear. Like I said, I have my Kirin's Asode, and I have a couple of Elemental Armor +2 pieces. So I have a little bit more oomph when I go into Eureka. And I'm also working
Currently,
on...
I'm saving up for my legs.
Yeah,
Then I'm going to do the other pieces.
I went with cheaper pieces to start with because like I said, I went with the chest piece because that's 300. So all of the materia that I meld to it actually has effect, which is nice.
Yeah.
And then I'm working on my Bard bow for Eureka as well, so I can get that up to +2 and use that there. So, doing quite a bit of work in Eureka. I'm enjoying it, but yeah, Pagos is still hell, and nothing there hasn't been much change on that. But aside from that, then yesterday I went ahead and saw Captain Marvel.
Nice.
Ooh.
That was so good. If you have not seen it yet, guys, please go see it. It's definitely very good.
I can't wait till it's on Blu-ray.
You're not going to go see it?
No.
Why? I suppose you have to go to like one of the far towns away because your theater that only has folding chairs in it only shows like one movie every fortnight.
I don't like it. I'll skip it for now.
Make a day trip of it. That sounds kind of fun, actually.
Yeah, but if I'm going, it's expensive.
That's fair.
It's like
20
quid for the train, 20 quid for the taxis, Then the cinema tickets on top of that. I'm looking at like 100 to 150.
Dang.
Just to see a movie.
Yeah.
So I understand.
Yeah, like you'd want to make a day out of it if you were going to do that.
Yeah, I always make it out of it. So, but
And then maybe a hotel or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, when I saw one movie, it was at night, so I had to book hotel as well on top of that.
Dang.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done that in the past. Like when I went to go see Avengers last year, I actually did have a hotel room and we went out for dinner.
I did
that
it for
night
Boruto.
Yeah, well, yeah, you had to because that one was only shown in specific theaters.
Yeah, that was. I had to travel. I think it was 2.5 hours to see Boruto.
Yeah, it would have been about the same for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then other than that, I don't know if you guys have been watching the stream throughout the week. You've noticed that I have been streaming a new game, Twitch Sings.
Yeah, because Chille came.
I did see a couple clips of that, which we definitely cannot play here.
Yeah, I've seen some people clip it. Well, to be fair, I guess we can show it here because
more for content.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's a lot of fun, and it's currently in beta, and I'm hoping that when it comes out and is released, we'll be able to do more stuff with you guys as an audience. So if you like it, you can stop by more often and take a look. I'm gonna try and stream it a couple of times a week. So I know it's not 14 related, but it is channel related. So.
Whatever, we're having fun.
Exactly, it was a good time. But if you want to see what it's all like, we have a bunch of videos out on our Twitch page, so you can take a look at those after the show. So let's go ahead and move on. Let's do some gaming community news. Let's start with a new community contest. The Flowers for All screenshot contest is live. Submit your screenshot of your character or group of friends celebrating the coming of spring and possibly win an in-game item. While the prizes aren't new, they have the Scarf of Wonder's wit back in the prize list.
Oh,
well,
why?
technically you can't get any more now, so
no,
it's
in the list. It's in the list. So
that's what I mean. No, technically that's the only way you can get it now, unless you were on during that event.
Oh, that's right. That was just a limited time event thing, but still, why? Anyway, what is
People
new?
might want it.
What is new is their method of entry. The team set up a new website for contest submissions, which should really simplify the process. So if you want to enter the contest, I will send the link here in the Twitch chat, as well as we'll put it in the show notes.
I didn't even know there was a way to enter. Oh, that'd be why it's NA.
Yes, this is an NA contest. Sorry, Chille.
Yay.
Not like you entered them anyway.
Well, they're on the forums. I don't enter them.
Yeah, I understand why they did it this way, because the forums sometimes confuse people, as well as the fact that all the people who got stupidly banned, they're basically ineligible. So we'll see. Maybe they're still banned from entering it this way, but we'll have to find out. I probably won't enter, but like I said, if you like that kind of stuff, there's going to be 30 winners.
I just want to throw out that when I hear Flowers for All, I start thinking Flowers for Algernon, and then it just goes to a very sad place.
Oh.
Just
Poor
me?
Seyrr. Yes, just you.
Oh, okay. Carry on.
We now have official dates and times for the new North American and European data center moves. For Europe, the new data center Lite will be implemented on Tuesday, April 2nd. And then the 2-week period after that, they will all have free world transfers available for anybody affected on the EU data centers. So you'll be able to move your character from one server to another at no charge. You'll also be able to move a larger amount of gil. You'll be able to get full reimbursement for your homes, plus furnishings that you may have lost because of that. And they're doing a lot of good to try and balance those servers out, or make sure that you're not losing out on being with your friends.
I know someone who posted the spreadsheet she was making of all of her different role-playing characters and which
Emmy?
one she was going. Yeah.
Yep, I saw that.
She does. She has a cosplay or a setup thing for Anonymous, which she has on many, many servers. And since she's not going to need nearly as much coverage now because she can go to other worlds with World Visit, she was figuring out which ones to remove or which ones to transfer to other worlds, such that she keeps the ones she's bothered to level and still has good coverage.
Yep.
And it's like, wow.
I think she has
we
like
make
15
spreadsheets for-
Nanimos.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Can't have too many Nanimos.
Yep. And the North American servers, we are getting a new data center crystal on Tuesday, April 23rd. And our period will run from then 2 weeks later. I believe it's like runs into the first week of May.
By the way, that was some confusion. From what I heard, you can switch to EU servers or NA servers. If you're on NA, you will be able to transfer to EU servers for free.
Yes,
if
but you will
wanted
not be able to transfer back for free.
No,
because they will
No.
not have the free transfer available for you anymore.
correct.
So if you transfer from NA to EU, or you can go from EU to NA,
Yeah,
and that will be free, but you won't be able to transfer back for like 2 weeks.
correct.
Unless you are on a preferred server, and then you can't transfer for 3 months.
Yep. Which, if you're on the new server, probably is a preferred server.
Yes, exactly.
So
I posted the full details in the Twitch chat, as well as I will put that in the show notes as well. So it will be a 24-hour maintenance, and if it goes beyond that, they will be giving out free days to compensate for the lost time.
Yeah. I imagine they don't want to move everything at once just because, given that this hasn't been done before, there's potential for hiccups, and they'd rather not have everything go down if that was the case.
Now,
so test it on Europe.
Yes. Well, it is.
I mean, you're the smallest one.
Yes, that is true. It's also the one that has the most problems, so I think they have more work to do on it.
Yes, chaos is the worst.
And I don't think it's the fact that it's because it's chaos, but I think there might be issues with where it's being housed and the ISP serving it.
Yeah.
So they have some things that they're going to be working on, aside from putting in a whole new data center.
Logistics is fun and easy. Wait, it's neither of those. Well, it might be fun, depending.
Yeah.
Anyways.
All right.
Before we go to the next topic, I just want to add one thing.
Yes.
There will be a Wolf's Den episode on Tuesday, the 12th of March. Wolf's Den is the PvP European streams. So if you live in Europe and you want a chance to win some stuff like the Taito little doggy and the Taito Cobra Kid, plus some PvP t-shirts, make sure you tune into Twitch, the official Twitch channel Fantasy 14 for the European PvP stream.
Yeah, it's a good call. I did see that, but I keep forgetting that. Yeah, you don't watch.
Well,
PvP,
yeah,
though.
because we only have. This is why I dislike how Square Enix treats Europe. Because how many community episodes is North America up to now? By
20 something.
We're still on episode 9.
Well, see, we don't get vacation days.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I made myself sad.
Prizes to win. Yeah.
Now, one thing that I'm noticing though is with the new data center for the EU, the fact that it's at the beginning of April, they're basically if the way we've picked this out as far as when patch 4.56 drops, they're only going to have like a week to play before they go down.
Yep.
Or does that mean that maybe it's going live earlier? Question mark.
Well, they would announce it by now.
We'll see. We might be hearing something soon. Otherwise, it might be coming up in the Letter from the Producer Live 50, which is scheduled for Tokyo Fan Fest. I believe that is March 23rd.
As I said, though, they can't have it if they're going to announce it on then, but they can't have it any time after that, except for the 26th, because that's the first Tuesday.
Yeah, it would either be then, because they did say late March, so it would have to be then, or it would have to be before Fan Fest.
Yeah, and before Fan Fest would be which would be 12th.
There would have been preliminary announcements by now. Also, given that they've wanted to do it previous ones, I can't imagine they'd do it before Fan Fest and rob themselves of something to talk about by being able to do previews.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's why we're all thinking it's going to be after Fan Fest, which should be 23rd, 26th.
Yeah, 26th.
Yep, versus the 19th.
Yeah, 12th or 19th.
Well, 12th is this coming Tuesday. It's not this coming Tuesday. I mean, the soonest it could be is the 19th, but probably not. We would have heard by now. So probably going to be the 26th, right after Fan Fest. like I said, we all knew that that was coming, but what we recently discovered was the fact that our special guest for that is going to be the world lore
Seyrr.
creator, not Seyrr, Bonri
No.
Oda. He's also the main scenario writer for Final Fantasy XIV. So
He's the dude who had to have the floors of his place reinforced to hold the weight of all the books.
all the books.
Good man. Probably. I don't actually know him.
So, like we said, make sure and tune in and drink in all of the wonderful lore. The main Final Fantasy XIV Twitch page will be Japanese audio only, but they are going to be doing an English language coverage stream on the official Square Enix Twitch page at twitch.tv/Square Enix. So for all of us over here and for EU, we can listen to it and get, basically we'll get a translator. So that'll be kind of nice. They are also doing a Q&A with Oda-san. So if you want to submit a question, there is an official forums topic thread that they want you to post it in. And I have gone ahead and put that in the Twitch chat as well. So if you're interested in asking a lore question to the man himself, by all means, go through, read some of them. They're actually asking lore questions. It's amazing. Good stuff.
I was really surprised and happy about that because I've seen some of the questions that people have asked after Square Enix have asked them for a topic, and it hurts my soul. I'm like, read the post. Read it.
No, I don't want to. That's work. All right. Some other Final Fantasy news. Dissidia NT is coming to Steam on March 12th, and it includes a free edition. So we're going to be able to play Dissidia NT for free. But it's going to be a limited selection of characters, which is going to rotate every week. And I believe the story mode is going to be locked out as well.
Kind of like how Smite does it, I guess, where you get a certain amount of heroes you can play.
Yeah. But there will also be a full paid version available on Steam as well. So you'll be able to... I don't know anything about crossplay, if we'll be able to play with people who have the game on any of the other
I don't think there's any
consoles,
crossplay with Dissidia.
which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But if you're interested and don't have a PS4 but wanted to play it, give it a shot. It's going to be free.
Oh my god, we've got two Lalafels watching the streaming game. Strong McSmall Pants and Friar Popato.
Oh my.
I had to give them a shout out, especially Strong McSmall Pants. Just for the name.
Some people's
That
kids.
is quite a name.
There was also a Q&A video posted recently with Final Fantasy 15 episode art and the animation director, Shinichi Kurita. He discusses the creative process behind the Final Fantasy 15 episode Arden. Give me a second here. I just covered over what I was reading here. The prologue, and reveals the steps that he and his team took to transform 3D characters from the game into a 2D anime, basically. So I'm going to post that video in the chat as well. So it's really cool. Are you guys excited for episode Arden?
Mine's still Fantasy 15 again for it.
I mean, it's probably, as far as story-wise, probably the most interesting one of the episodes.
Okay, I should say, I'll see how interested in based on the price.
Well, I think it's free, is it not?
No.
We have to pay for it extra?
Yeah, because it was part of a new season pass, so of course
The
it's
thing is,
gonna
they
be...
canceled that season pass because there were supposed to be 3 other episodes coming out with it.
Yeah, but doesn't mean
Right.
they can't just sell this individually, because just because it was in the season pass doesn't mean it was originally not going to be sold separately if you didn't want it.
I haven't seen an
So-
announcement for a price, though. They usually would have done that by now.
Given that they did cancel the season pass and like they had to scale back a lot of the plans, I wouldn't be surprised if they did change how they were planning to make it available.
I'm hoping that it's free, but like I said, if it's under $10, I'll probably pick it up.
Yeah.
I know,
As I said, I really don't think it's going to be free because they're still going to have to pay for the cost of making it.
I mean, at this point, it sounds like they've accepted that they're going to take a loss.
I mean, this is the final add-on content for 15, so they might just say, thank you for all your support. Here's the last one. Enjoy it on us.
I'm expecting
Or if maybe it's going to be included
$7.
for free if you purchased the previous season pass.
We'll see.
We'll see. Exactly. There has been no official announcement that I have seen on any news outlet or on their website, so we're speculating. But that's supposed to be coming out, I believe, late March, early April.
Yeah.
So soon. We will see then. Anything else in the Final Fantasy realm you guys want to talk about, or within the Final Fantasy creators world?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Chille, you got stuff coming up with your other podcast, don't you?
I guess Moogle Go Round is going to have Gather Together in a few weeks, which is pretty cool. I'm also doing a competition on Twitter, which you can win a Fat Cat mount. So if you want a chance to win a Fat Cat mount, tweet me, hashtag Nico Meowser. That's NEKOMEOWCER. So make sure you tweet that out to me.
You should probably follow Chille on Twitter.
Yeah.
All of that stuff.
Getting close to that goal of 1,500. Only 400 to go.
Only.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we really don't have much of a discussion topic for this week because we are in that the pre-patch lull. You know, in the major dry spell for news content because we're all anxiously awaiting FanFest in 2 weeks.
Where we'll get the new race to announce the big chunguses.
Oh, that thing never fails to make me laugh.
Thanks, She Heals I Tank, for that image.
But aside from that, like I said, the only things that I've noticed out there that are kind of discussion worthy, it revolves around Eureka, and I want to have an in-depth discussion about Eureka, and we're going to be doing that, I believe, in our April 20th episode. I've tasked Seyrr with getting through the Eureka content so we can discuss it all as a group.
Woo!
By the way, Seyrr,
Yeah?
if you haven't been BA by then, make sure you YouTube BA as well, because I haven't watched it, but I know there's some secret endings for BA.
Yeah, if I've gotten to that point, I'll go ahead and watch the thing, because I know it could be a while before I actually finish the content.
I'm going to try and beat rather than watch it, but I'm just saying in case you don't.
Right.
The thing is, like I said, there's the two bits where there's the one spot at the end of the story where the story diverges.
Yeah.
And there's some controversy around that, and I want to discuss a little bit of that as well. But the biggest thing that I would just want to talk about real quick before we get into our special event of the episode is a lot of people are very upset and how people are getting into the Baldesion Arsenal right now.
Yeah.
On most data centers, I would say Aether is probably similar to the way Primal does it. Most people are using premades because they want to be able to communicate with the rest of the group. I mean, we're talking up to 56 players. I mean, that's a lot of cats to herd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they want to be able to communicate efficiently and effectively. They want to help people learn the content well and waste as little time as possible, because it can be very daunting to get in and out and through that area. And so as well as, then we can make the best progress through farm the stuff that we need to get out of the Baldesion Arsenal to improve our gear, and it just makes it overall more fun, I think, if you can make it organized and get people through it versus having to blindly go through and fight enemies and die, and just it becomes very ugly.
I can understand both sides, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
It's quite daunting to use the Discord, and some people do not have access to it. I know a couple of people on my friends list that I play on PS4, they have no way to access Discord at all. So there's no way they could join it. So I can understand where some people come, but at the same time, it is really useful. Even if you don't want to chat on the Discord, which, to be fair, you do not chat on that Discord.
No.
Really, you join, you'll join a leader group, or you'll be a leader if you're good enough at if you think you've cleared up enough content that you can give call outs, and then you'll literally just sit there as your leader will tell you. He'll shout out mechanics. He'll tell you what's going on. He'll go to the left.
It's very,
go to the right.
Very similar
do
to
a twirl.
If you have ever done any Savage raiding, you generally have the one person who is in charge of calling out mechanics and things like that to help everybody kind of get through the content. This is just instead of having 8 people, you're doing it with up to 56 people at a time.
Coordination problems.
Yes. So now, granted, Square Enix did create this content to be a public dungeon to where anybody who has access to it can get in, and I understand that. However,
I know that there have been a lot of people who got very salty when someone unauthorized joined in, which, as far as the game recognizes, there's no such thing.
Yep. Or when people have been upset when the fact that a group does form up, they all spend the time to get into the same Hydaelyn instance, which is not easy, guys.
Takes about 2 to 3 hours, I'd find.
I've been fortunate,
oh my God.
And the longest it took me was 30 minutes. We actually had 2
you're
times.
Lucky. The longest it took me was 5.5 hours.
Yep. I've actually had it happen where all 6 groups spawned in the same instance on the first try.
Wow.
It's very, very fortunate on that. So, I mean, I'm counting my blessings. However, it can be very daunting to do it because people are going in and out of Hydaelyn, trying to make sure they get into the same instance as the others. And people in the past, people announced, hey, we have a pre-made here. We would like to be able to use BA when the fate pops. And then the
problem with that now is when people shout, we've got a pre-made.
Hold on, Chille. Let me just go through this and then we'll talk about it after that. What they had done is they'd say, hey, we have a pre-made. We would like to use the portals as they spawn. But what ends up happening is people are upset with that because, no, I want to go in. And then they go in maliciously and they end up, screwing however many people out of the opportunity to get in there. And they don't want to work with the group that's in there. And that causes all these people who spent all this time trying to organize it, their time gets wasted and they have to start over again. But there have also been people who have been like, we have a pre-made, we're going in, you can't, and they're being assholes about it. So, I mean, it's happening on both sides, and people even who want to just jump in, they want to say, hey, this spawned, I want to join you guys, let me in. And people are being like, no. And then, so people are upset about that. So it's kind of an ugly situation.
Since the content seems to have been designed around the idea that you're not necessarily going in with a full pre-made set of people you all know.
Yeah. They weren't expecting the community to go ahead and use a third-party tool to set up these runs.
I mean, I would be surprised if they hadn't at least considered the possibility of it.
Well, I know
it's like the obvious thing to think of. It's just I don't know what you would actually do about that.
Yeah. My biggest issue is I think it's going to be difficult to run through the content as a pug because they don't give you enough time to, within the game's confines, organize and call things out.
Yep.
That you get very limited time when you go in there.
Right.
If you're not, just consistently moving, killing enemies, getting those bosses down, and extending your time, a la Dynamis, it doesn't work.
Though, if you are doing the content and pushing forward, you do have decent amount of time.
Oh, you do, yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were gonna then say Chille. I apologize. I just wanted to get my point out.
I was just basically saying about the whole portal sniping thing.
Yeah. Some GMs think that portal sniping is a bannable offense. Others don't. So even Square Enix's support staff does not know at what point or where they stand on this entire thing. So, I mean,
from what I heard, it's a bannable offense if there is
proof that it's
malicious. If you just jump in and you go, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to," then that's not an issue.
Though the problem with that is... Go ahead, sorry.
If you jump in and then shout, "Lols, I joined in just so you can't win," lols, trolls.
I mean, there are a lot. It's not like it's always the one extreme or the other.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I think a lot of people are far less masters of deception on this than they like to imagine.
No, I've actually had people send tells that do that. That literally say those sentences. I've had a message once saying, "No, I've joined just because you can't."
Right. My point is, someone who was going to pretend that it was an accident.
Yeah.
I find that people are not nearly as good at being a master of deception about that as they like to think they are.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, like I said, I mean, the content is fun, but I think there are some issues with how it was implemented. And I'm hoping.
Well, for those that are wanting to run it, it's not that hard. I'd say it's about just above expert level primals.
But I do recommend that if you are going to look into it, please do join one of the Discord servers for either Aether, Primal. I want to say Chaos has one as well.
I'm guessing so.
So if you are interested and you like running that type of content, it's not quite Savage level, but like I said, I would say it's harder than. Well, the reason it's hard,
I would say it's extreme.
Yeah,
I'd say it's extreme.
Extreme plus, maybe a little bit harder.
Well, no. If you look at some of the extremes, if you were doing it at the the eye level that you would be if you were going when the content was fresh.
Yeah, but why I'm saying it's harder is the fact that there are mechanics that one prevent you from being able to be raised in normal means, and all of the enemies will one shot you if you get hit if you're not.
Yeah, but then you've got mechanics like that in extremes as well. Remember Titan that knocks you off and you can't be raised from that.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm saying on that though too. In most cases nowadays, if
you can't try again is the big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can be
like Titan. You get wiped and you can try again.
Yeah.
This one, no, you can't wipe again, or you can't try again unless you're lucky and get a sacrifice, or you have your remembered go off, or the limit break 3 of a healer.
Make sure you bring Spirit of Remembrance.
Yes, at least 3.
I got lucky and I died during Raiden because one of the callers said, "Go north, go left." So I went north, went left, and what he meant to say was, "Go south, go left."
Ooh.
So I ran right into Raiden.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I died, but luckily my Spirit of Remembered brought me back up.
It's only a 70% chance, which means it's only a 30% chance, which means you're not going up. No, just kidding.
Artificially extending Hydaelyn, pretty much. Elevator doors, pretty much.
And they are watching the content, and they are making some changes. There have been a couple of edits to it, but we'll talk about that more when we get into the full Eureka special.
Also, remember, you don't need to beat BA to get your max relic weapon and armor. All the max stuff, increased stuff, gives you bonuses in Eureka.
Yep. The plus 2 stuff is only really, that's where it gives you the elemental bonuses. Otherwise, you are eye level 400 and 405.
Yeah.
I just wanted to talk about that.
390.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to talk about that real quick because it was something that's topical and it's affecting people now. So
yeah. The armor's 390 class.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, and I'm wearing 2 pieces of it too. I should know, right? I'm just not looking at it. All right. So we'd like to hear what you guys think about it as well. So, I mean, if you've experienced any of this and want to weigh in, you can always tweet at us at PHXDN Radio on Twitter, or you can email us podcast@phoenixdownradio.com.
We all know that Pyrus is the best one just because it has Lava Scorpion's 3rd form.
Yes.
The Scorpion King.
The Rock is in there? No, Seyrr?
Oh no, a giant rock.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that.
Everdoors just said, Klauss is wearing a 2-piece? Oh my.
I don't get the reference.
A 2-piece outfit?
Well, I am wearing a top and pants, yes.
That's not what... Let's just pretend that didn't happen.
It's not a bikini, no. Anyway, so...
there's no camera to prove it, so who knows?
Anyway, because we don't have a lot to discuss for a discussion topic this week, Seyrr went out of his way, and he created a beautiful discussion.
Oh my god, stop hyping it up, man.
Why? Because it's amazing. It's beautiful. It's fabulous.
Not that...
Shut up, Seyrr.
Just because I know how to write an outline so that it's readable and has nice indents.
Look, Seyrr, I've had a lot of podcasts recently over the last 2 weeks, so thank you for giving me some time to just shut up.
Excellent.
I'm sure and listen.
Anyway, Seyrr.
That said, I will be paying attention to the chat, so if anyone does have questions, wants clarification on anything, please do not hesitate to ask.
And if you want to actually ask a question of this in the Discord, you can also jump into the call-in channel, and we will take some people's questions live on the air as well. So,
right, because so in response to a request from the Discord, everyone get your notebooks out. We are having a remedial review session. We are going to be reviewing some topics that may be relevant in understanding what's going to be happening in Shadowbringers.
is this because Chille failed his test earlier on the calamities?
Hey, we're not... Have you been going through my grade book? Have you been going through my grade book?
Maybe.
See me after class, Klauss.
I mean, I am getting an 85, so...
So what you're saying is I wasn't supposed to write I punch things to every answer to every question.
No. That's only a correct answer for a couple of the questions.
Yay, I got some right.
But so today, we are going to be focusing on the multiple worlds that make up the cosmology of the game and their connection to the cycle of calamities in Eorzea's history. This will be on the final exam. So, first off, we've got the entire concept of astral and umbral eras, which is how we got introduced to a lot of the underlying concepts, and it's useful for understanding a lot of stuff about the game setting. Eorzea's timeline is defined by astral and umbral eras. Astral eras are times of great prosperity and advancement. Umbral eras are times of strife and hardship. Now, the transition from that astral era to umbral era is punctuated by an umbral calamity, a major disaster that causes widespread destruction over a very short time period. The transition from the umbral back to the astral is a lot less well-defined, and often it becomes something where people are like, okay, I guess things have been good for a bit. Now, a lot of the details that we have about those calamities, especially for those earlier eras, are educated guesses or tales that have been passed down through generations, where a lot of the details we cannot be sure about. The first calamity was the Calamity of Wind. We don't really have any details about this one. The Mughals up in Mogholm in the Churning Mist do have ancestral tales of an ancient disaster that sundered the floating continent where they once lived. But beyond that, we don't have any specifics. The second calamity was the Calamity of Lightning. Volcanic eruptions filled the sky with clouds, from which erupted lightning bolts that ravaged the land for a 12 moon and a day. So like a full year of just endless lightning storm. Tales of the time attribute it to environmental devastation that was caused from over-mining, over-logging, basically over-harvesting of natural resources.
Global warming. No?
Something like that. I am put in mind of the eruption of, was it Mount Krakatoa? I want to say in the Polynesian, not Polynesian, but it was, yeah, I think it was Krakatoa, which the ash clouds from that actually caused worldwide temperature drops and are believed to be one of the precipitating factors for the Dark Ages. Now that one was a little bit of the less dramatic lightning strikes, destroying all structures and driving people underground, but still not a great time. The third calamity was the Calamity of Fire. It is said that the sun grew large in the sky, parching the earth and sapping the life from creation. The people of that time believed that it was caused by the gods seeking to humble the churches of mankind for conducting holy wars, witch hunts, stuff like that. The historical record that we have shows that the churches of that time had grown proud, the usual overdrunk on hubris, and had started doing all sorts of terrible things, claiming it was being done in the name of the gods. And so supposedly this Calamity of Fire was done by the gods to punish them for it.
Is this also why the Allagans were then basically against religion?
So yes, actually, because after that third umbral calamity, we have the third astral era. Very good call. The people who had just gotten out of this whole thing that they believed was caused by misuse of divine power. They kind of moved away from any sort of religious observance, which is why the Allegan Empire was a bit more of like an atheistic one that moved away from worship of the gods and towards the technological.
And taking the primals and using their power for their own uses.
Yeah, where previous generations would have seen the primals as kind of like these manifestations of divine will. They saw them in terms of the energy that they had, in terms of these other aspects. They took away a lot of the religious significance that others would have given these beasts. Now, we know a bit more about the fourth calamity. That would be the Calamity of Earth, a massive realm-shaking earthquake. That earthquake swallowed Circus Tower in a rift of the earth, which is why it remained buried until we came around to the current age. And the massive earthquake caused the pretty much overnight collapse of the Allegan Empire. Even the far-flung places that weren't directly impacted by that did have the immediate loss of the kind of home central coordinating stuff, and so likely would have devolved into you might have some fun stuff with warlords, with local control, other fun things like that. Now, this one we do know a bit of the cause. There was a faulty power transmission from an Allegan orbital power satellite, Dalamud, of course, where we learned in the Crystal Tower storyline that Emperor Zandi was, in fact, purposefully caused that power transmission, attempting to open a massive gate to the void so that the cloud of darkness could come through. The tower was actually built to be strong enough to handle that power transmission, but the ground it was on was not, which is what caused that massive rift.
That's why you don't build them on a swamp.
I don't think it was a swamp at the time. I'm not sure now.
Sorry, it was a Monty Python and the Holy Grail reference.
Oh, okay. Now, the fifth umbral is the Calamity of Ice, which is the start of the Age of Endless Frost. We don't really know much about the cause of this, because after the fourth calamity, the fourth astral era, umbral era and astral era were marked by a lot of distrust of technology, of knowledge and education, and so a lot of historical record was destroyed. A lot of the methods by which people would keep history were destroyed. So whatever caused this Calamity of Ice and this mini Ice Age, we don't really have any records about it.
Why does it seem that every time we go into a new age, they take everything to the extreme?
Well, they saw, okay, something really bad happened. What was going on? We were doing this thing. Let's try doing not this thing. Maybe we won't get hurt this time.
I mean, we're talking like extreme 180s here.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you manage to make it through one of those calamities, you probably want to do everything you can to avoid anything like that ever happening again. Think about population-wide PTSD.
You haven't heard of these things called incremental changes?
PTSD. And yes, I've seen in the chat someone calling that about it being some sort of cover-up. I wouldn't be surprised if some people during those eras did take advantage of the information blackout, of the distrust, to manipulate it to their own advantage. That said, I haven't seen anything to...
Excuse me.
Glalafels might have been involved at some point.
Look, I say happened just because at one point of time, Lava Scorpion lived on the world, and then he got bored of humanity, so went to a cave.
Well,
that's where he is now.
Well, the thing is that giant earthquake before that swallowed everything up, it scared him, so he ran away.
Yeah, that's.
But then you would have had the one right after the other. There was a non-trivial amount of time between them.
Look, he was so hot that it took a while for the surrounding area to cool down.
Yes.
So anyways, we do know a little bit about what happened after that Age of Endless Frost, where as the cold... So first we know that the Mikote migration from Mericidia happened during this time, with a lot of the seas effectively frozen over. Many of the tribes crossed over during that period. We know that as the temperature started to warm up, this began a lot of the stuff in the fifth astral era that would lead to the establishment of 12 civilizations, societies, and the eventual War of the Magi. And eventually leading us to our sixth umbral calamity, the Calamity of Water, the giant flood that destroyed what were at that point the three remaining civilizations. Now, that one, the cause is generally accepted to be ethereal imbalance from an overuse of white and black magic. Both of those, both white and black magic, rather than just using the caster's own ether, consume ether from the environment around them to create more powerful effects. And when you had entire armies using white and black magic, this caused a massive imbalance, consuming ether of several different aspects, but not all of them, leading to, again, that big imbalance of water aspected energy, which is believed to have given rise to this massive flood.
You know how they can fix that, right? They can just give white mages a water spell.
Well, sure,
that's
but
not fluid aura and banned by most raid statics.
But I mean, if you do that, then at that point, all of them get consumed, and you're just kind of getting like a wasteland here.
Giant burn.
Yeah, not better. Now, this was the point we were at when we started 1.0. And let me see. Yes, many scholars were convinced that we've had our six, that we have a complete elemental cycle, one for each of the elements. So that is the full wheel. We have completed it. No more calamities coming.
Man, they're idiots.
Well,
Everyone knows there's non-elemental damage.
Yes, that's one that I've always gotten a bit of a laugh out of. We had the seventh umbral calamity, the Meteor Project, the attempt by Nail Van Darnus to crash the Lesser Moon Dalamud into Eorzea, which was found to be the prison for the Primal Bahamut.
Also, Final Fantasy VII was about Meteor.
Yep.
Seventh, yeah.
Yeah, they frequently make callbacks to the different Final Fantasies. There's an interesting tie-in between the numbers of the various Imperial Legions and the themes that seem to be showing up with them. So yes, we do have that enraged Primal attempting to ravage the land before being defeated by an unknown force. The memories of that day are uniformly blurry and unclear, a major point in the plot at the beginning of the game. Those who have, of course, completed the Binding Coil of Bahamut know a bit more about the truth of what happened that day. And as Chille pointed out, I am privately amused that, given that Bahamut is traditionally a non-elemental summon, that we have, the non-elemental calamity.
But what about light and dark, Seyrr?
So that is a complicated thing. Light and dark as elements in the way they're usually done in Final Fantasies don't quite exist here. There's stuff relating to astral and umbral, though that's not quite the same. But there's a possibility of an eighth umbral calamity on the horizon. We've seen in the recent scenes, Emperor Solus has made comments suggesting that Black Rose, that poison gas weapon created by the Garlean Empire, is an ideal agent of destruction. And there's a hint that this might be the basis of another upcoming calamity. Which, I mean, poison is an element in a lot of the FF games.
But
wasn't poison one of the darkness? Darkness. Because blind is technically darkness as well.
It varies from game to game. Some have had poison or bio as its own element. Some have had it show up with dark aspected things. It is unclear. And for reasons we'll get to, having it as an elemental cycle may in fact be a complete red herring, but it was certainly something where scholars observed this pattern and tried to make their understanding of it fit into that.
But yeah, also have to remember that it's going to be because of the excessive amount of light energy that's going on right now is why it'll be more effective.
We're too good at our job.
Possibly, there's some stuff I'll touch on there in a little bit. We'll come back to that.
Okay.
Now, the length of those eras, it's not strictly defined. A lot of it seems to be just, you have this period of destruction, of downslide, and then this recovery. So it's not strictly defined how long those eras are going to run. But given what we've seen historically, usually each astral umbral cycle runs around 1 to 2 millennia. The 6th astral era, which we reached the end of in the 1.0 game, lasted around 1600 years, give or take. We know that the 3rd astral era ended around 5,000 years ago, and we know that it was at least 1,000 years long. Now, given that, the fact that we are facing the possibility of an 8th umbral calamity so soon after the 7th, we're looking at something like a decade or less. That's a bit striking, and it does give cause to wonder if something important has changed.
I'm not saying Asians, but Asians.
Well,
Damn
yes, it's
you,
almost
man-made climate change!
All right.
Plot
so
MacGuffins, that's why.
Now that we understand that astral umbral cycle, we're going to go ahead and move into another thing about the nature of the world, only this case it's more about the nature of the world. We're going to be talking about shards and about the source. Ages ago, before even that first calamity, the world was shattered into 14 shards, essentially parallel worlds. These worlds started out as mirror images of each other, but over time they did diverge. That divergence was over a course of many, many thousands of years, and unlike a lot of the usual parallel worlds tropes, it is extremely unlikely that replicas of the people we know exist on shard worlds.
Except for Lava Scorpion, he exists on all worlds.
The only people we have directly encountered, the Warriors of Darkness, who came from the first, they specifically took on names that would ease their integration into Eorzean society. Their actual names and their job disciplines are different from anything in our world.
Like Steve.
I mean, it's possible.
Their name is really Steve? That is so hard to pronounce.
Now, this is one that has come up a lot as people have wondered or speculated or declared their headcanon to be canon, but it has been left purposefully unclear whether these worlds are separated by physical distance, whether we have some sort of dimensional phase plane shifting thing.
Like a multiverse?
Yeah. To be honest, it feels like Doctor Who. You know the episode where they have the Cybermen come in from a different dimension?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's probably like a void between the worlds.
It's possible, but it has been left purposefully unclear. Like, there's certainly stuff that seems to feel more like one or another, but it has been left purposefully unclear. We do not know for sure how they are separated and how travel between them works. Anyone who does claim otherwise should be prepared to cite clear and direct proof with the source.
Yeah. Elevator.
Well, we find out about Gilgamesh though, because isn't he the same Gilgamesh in every game?
Not quite. That's a popular fan theory, and there certainly are characters that look the same and that make reference to traveling the rift. So it's possible that they're the same, but it's not actually confirmed.
Now, Elevator Doors in chat mentioned Omega.
Yes, Omega is one. The way it was described, especially that scene where Omega is talking, reviewing its logs about going through space, the different planets and encounters, that at the very least seems to suggest that there's some amount of traveling through physical space. It's unclear if the world that it left from was one of the reflections of our world, was some other world entirely. If you do have these parallel things, is it creating an entire universe each, or is it just like a localized?
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I mean, is it possible that it's not just our world that is, has multiple things, that it's an entire universe, like I said, expanding upon the multiverse theory?
Which is possible, but also very extravagant with universes.
But I mean, we're just focusing on
Dragon
the one
Ball
world.
did it, Final Fantasy can do it.
I mean, it is possible. The big thing that I would say is that we do not really actually have a good answer to, is this just a dimensional separation? Is it a physical separation? What is the nature of it? We do not actually have an answer.
All we just know that all the universes ride on the giant back of a scorpion.
we do know that the world shattered into these shards. That is the bit that we are sure about. The exact nature of that, beyond that, we're not certain. So, going back a bit, the world that we live on, that one is called the Source. It is, in some way that I'm still not 100% sure on, the original. And the other worlds are reflections of the Source. I'm not really sure what makes this one the original and the others reflections of it. But then again, it's not like I was there when the worlds were shattered. So
maybe we were the ones when it shattered that's stayed closest to Hydaelyn. Hence why we're the Source.
It's possible. We don't know. But this world is considered kind of the original. Now, each calamity on the Source, each of those calamities we've had in our astral umbral era cycle, coincides with the complete destruction of a reflection. It's not actually a coincidence, but we'll get to that.
So, quick question. Sorry.
Sure.
So, it's only the Source that experiences these calamities?
We believe so. We haven't actually been able to sit around on the other ones, but given what we've heard described from people who came from other worlds, I guess Uno
I thought, well, the other worlds do, don't they? Because the world of darkness, the reason why the Warriors of Darkness, the reason why they came here was because of the fact they had darkness come.
They were having something bad happen, but it's not necessarily the case that they experienced all those calamities as we did.
No, but they experienced at least one.
Sure, but we're getting to that. Yeah. But what Klauss is asking is, like, we've got 7 calamities in our history, but those other worlds weren't experiencing all of those calamities. That was just something happening on the Source.
Yeah,
Yes, and that is a good astute point. So far as we know, that is the case, though it's not like we've been able to sit down with historians from the shards reflections to talk about it. At this point, with the destruction of reflections, we have the Source and 6 reflections left.
Okay, sorry. Now, one more quick interruption. Nick Narn chat saying he thought calamities were caused by the fall of the other world, but isn't it actually the other way around?
We're getting to that.
Okay.
Good question. Good observation. This is one where there's a lot of stuff that people think they know or think they figured out, but there's a lot that we're not actually sure on. I'm doing this step by step, mostly to build on what we do know, from that to what we think we know or what we've observed and what that might imply.
Gotcha.
But at this point, we can definitely say each calamity coincides with a destruction of a reflection. The exact nature of that of how those are connected, we're not quite there yet. Now, we do know a little bit about some of those reflections. One reflection, the 13th, we know better as the Void. A violent shift in the balance between light and darkness resulted in the destruction of the 13th and its Aether in a flood of darkness. When we do go to the world of darkness in the Crystal Tower Raid series, we can see the scraps and remnants that scrabble for dominance while seeking a path to a world more abundant in ether. All of those various demon summonings are actually creating bridges to the 13th, and creatures are attempting to either escape across the boundary or extend their influence across it. The more powerful Void Scent sort of drop their spirit in, animating bodies to create succubi or other things like that in order to try to draw power from this world.
So the 13th hasn't fully been destroyed then?
I mean, it's effectively destroyed. There's there's tiny little scraps, but the world is pretty much gone. There's a couple little scraps floating in nothingness. When you've been to the world of dark, a couple islands, but there's not a world there.
Okay.
There's just tiny little remnants, little bits of dust, effectively scrabbling for purchase upon almost nothing.
Yeah, because I guess I don't recall seeing whether if there was a more firmament around where we were actually at in the dungeon versus.
Not really that I could see. Okay. Think of it like in the Bird. Technically, there is stuff there that is scrabbling to exist, but for practical purposes, the place is dead. Now, well, yes. Then we started bringing ether back to it. But before that, now, one reflection, the first, is at risk of a similar catastrophe, only light aspected. The circumstances seem to be similar. There's a sudden, strong shift in the balance between light and darkness, and on the first, a flood of light is imminent, which will scour all life and ether from existence. We did meet the Warriors of Darkness who came from that shard. Minfilia returned to the first with them in hopes of taking on some of the excess light and averting catastrophe. It seems suggested that we are getting some of that spillover light from the first, which is causing that uptick in light aspected things that may be empowering Black Rose.
So they are actually the closest one to us,
yes.
Hypothetically?
Yes. The numbering of the shards does seem to relate to how close they are to the source. The first is the closest to us.
So how are we able to travel all the way to the 13th?
I mean, that is one of the reasons that Emperor Zandi wanted to create such a powerful, huge power station.
He was potentially bending space-time.
Maybe. Again, we don't really understand how the worlds are separated, what the nature of it is, but whatever it was, the 13th is the farthest away, and that's something that takes a lot of energy.
Wormholes.
Maybe? I don't know.
It's a Zandi bridge.
Our best understanding is that it's not light or darkness being dominant by itself that causes a flood, but a sudden, powerful shift. Slow, gradual changes seem to be all right. And importantly, a flood destroys all life and ether and leaves the shard dead. None of the sides in the great cosmic battle want this outcome. And that brings us on to the great battle between Hydaelyn and Zodiark.
Okay, sorry, before you go on, I have a couple more quick questions. So in the case of the 13th, the Ascians were not able to gather anything out of that then?
Correct. They view the 13th as a failure that they do not want to repeat. Okay. I believe, I was just looking at something in my Encyclopedia Eorze about this. Page 2. Give me just a sec. There is actually a specific reference to this.
Live research, people.
It's one of my many things I do. Was it page 2? Here we are. Yes. So on page 213, where it's discussing the Ascians, we have Hydaelyn, who you may remember we fought along with La Habrea at the Etherochemical Research Facility.
Everybody's favorite dungeon.
Woo! In the 13th, Hydaelyn's power proved too much for the inexperienced bringer of light. That would be Unal Kohai, I believe. And their one-sided battles... yeah, he talks a bit about it, how the world he came from was a void, how he was too young and inexperienced. The fact that Elidibus brought him over... guy's a snake. He's plotting something. He's keeping so much from us that's important. Anyways, their one-sided battles eventually resulted in a flood of darkness, consuming the entire world and rendering it a nigh empty void. What life remained quickly atrophied into ether-starved monsters, relegated to fighting amongst themselves for dominion over their corrupted realm. Void of its ether, the 13th could no longer be rejoined with Hydaelyn, ultimately losing its value to the Ascians. After fleeing to the source, Hydaelyn sought redemption for her failure by enacting La Habrea's will. However, even with their essences combined, the pair could not prevail over the Warrior of Light. Thus, Hydaelyn met her doom.
Doom!
So yeah, pretty much she did not do her job properly. She brought too much to bear against the Warrior of Light, who was too young and not at all prepared to fight back. And that strong, sudden shift in the balance ended up causing that flood that destroyed the 13th. She fucked up bad.
She brought a nuke to a sword fight?
Pretty much. And that's not something you want to do in this case, because utterly defeating your opponent actually causes a bad result here. So yes, let us now get to what Anonymous frequently refers to as the giant cosmic custody battle. Hydaelyn and Zodiark. Seriously, so much about this becomes amazing if you view them as like a divorcing couple that's having a custody battle.
Oh dear.
Now, long ago, Hydaelyn and Zodiark, emblematic of light and darkness, warred for dominance. Zodiark was the stronger of the two, and he likely would have won the battle eventually. But Hydaelyn somehow caused the shattering of the world into the shards, and as part of this process, Zodiark's power appears to have been divided among the shards, leaving him greatly weakened and allowing Hydaelyn to defeat him and cast him out. So yes, that shattering we were talking about, that was something that appears Hydaelyn did on purpose. The Ascians wished to return the world to its original state. Those 14 shards recombined back into one world, and Zodiark ascended. And they call this endeavor the Ardor. As part of this, they want to recover those fragments of Zodiark's power that were sealed off in the various reflections, an act which they call rejoining. Now, this was something that you were asking about earlier. And yes, each calamity on the sword coincides with the complete destruction of a reflection. But unlike a flood of light or darkness, this seems to involve the destruction of whatever barrier exists between the reflection and the source, allowing the ether to flow back from the reflection to rejoin the source. Now, this distinction is academic to those living on the reflection, as all their world's ether is lost and the world is still destroyed. Comments made by Solus suggest that the Ascians are also performing work in the reflection as part of that destruction of the barrier between worlds, which, as you were asking earlier, it does suggest that the shards do not experience the cycles of calamities that the source has. They just have that one calamity that ends everything.
Okay, but then the question remains, is it the calamity that causes the fall of the other world or the other way around?
Right, it is unclear. It does seem that Ascians have a tendency to build up both sides of a conflict until at least one side has power enough to cause a release of a tremendous amount of energy and the will to do so. And that's where we get our calamity.
So basically, it has to happen on both sides.
Maybe. We don't really know what's going on. We know that something is being done in that other world reflection to prepare it for it. We don't know if they're having like a simultaneous one where it's something of like, okay, hit it with a hammer from both sides, or if it's just like, okay, let's do this stuff to weaken it, but it's maybe more subtle. We don't really know what's going on in the other world. This would acquire a lot of dimensional physics, yada, 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 than we actually have.
Somebody call Bruce Banner. He might be able to help us.
Yeah. We do know that...
It would have more luck with Ant-Man, if I'm honest.
You mean the original Hank Pym?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Maybe. I'll watch movies later. Anyway, so we can speculate about all sorts of things, but what we do know for sure is that some amount of preparatory work needs to be done in the reflection as well, and that there does seem to be, whatever it is, there's some massive catastrophic release of energy. It's not clear to me if the calamity itself is what's required, or if there was some way to generate that massive release of energy without a calamity, if that would be enough. I don't know. Granted, a calamity involves lots and lots of people dying, and that rush of ether moving around might also be part of what drives it. We don't know. Now, at this point, those 7 calamities that we've had that we mentioned earlier, the ether of 7 reflections have been returned to the source, and each time that has empowered Zodiark further. Now, Zodiark may not be able to return to his full original strength. We did have that flood of darkness on the 13th that annihilated the ether there, rather than returning it to the source.
And the impending flood of light on the 1st.
Right. Though, as said, that was something that we were moving to counteract.
Yeah.
Because neither side wants floods to happen. The Ascians, they see it as a loss of the power that's going to be needed to bring back Zodiark. Those associated with Hydaelyn share her view of seeing it as a tragic loss of life. So, on this one thing, we and the Ascians are actually on the same side. But it doesn't stop either side from trying to use the threat of a flood as leverage against the other. Like, I could totally see Elidibus being like, hey, there's this flood happening, this is bad, there is no choice but to do this. And that just happens to guide us along towards what he wanted us to do anyways. He seems like the type to give you a choice between what he wants and disaster, and not acknowledge other possibilities. Now, it's unclear how many calamities are required to get Zodiark to sufficient strength that he could defeat Hydaelyn. But each calamity that we have does move us closer to that unknown line.
Isn't that line really probably pretty close for the fact that Hydaelyn is so weak at this point?
Entirely possible. Like, we don't know the nature of what exactly is, of how exactly Zodiark was cast out, what's keeping him out. The fact that Hydaelyn is not in good shape is probably not helping. But this is, again, one of those things where we don't know. We are missing a lot of information. We tend to be in the dark about really important stuff.
Yeah.
And to make matters worse, current events, and especially that unknown voice that keeps putting our friends into comas, suggest that we are navigating an extremely thin line, a knife's edge, between two disasters. If our side is too successful, we're risking triggering a flood of light. We can't just crush Garlemald into the ground. The fact that Minfilia, acting as the will of the mother, was taking on all that excess light from the first is probably contributing to this as well. If she's bringing in a lot of light, and we start adding to that, that seems like it has the potential to risk a flood. And a flood of light on the source, I can't imagine that ends well. But if the conflict continues, we're going to see that escalation of power and of desperation that has traditionally led to calamities and brings us closer to the return of Zodiark. And to make matters worse, the other side, in this case Emperor Varys, is convinced that rejoinings are a good thing. The return of ether to the source brings it closer to its original state, and he believes that will empower the races of man to the point where we can cast off the Ascian yoke and reclaim our own destiny. So trying to convince him not to do this is not an option. So yes, that is the somewhat desperate situation we find ourselves in as we move up to Shadowbringers, because of this ongoing cosmic custody battle that we find ourselves in the middle of. Now, too much light or too much darkness, neither of those is really conducive to the existence of, well, life. But between the two of them, between our two toxic parents, Hydaelyn, at the very least, seems somewhat concerned with our continued existence. So, even though I know a lot of people are very much feeling reigns of history back in the hands of man, if we gotta side with someone for now, Hydaelyn seems most likely to at least want us to get through this and then be able to do our own thing. So she's probably the best deal we've got right now. But we are not in a great situation. So yeah, look forward to Shadow. Just how much worse it can get.
Can I be adopted, please?
Well, with the name Shadowbringers, I'm going to go with bad.
Yeah.
Like I said, we have to balance things, so that's why.
First, you send some. It's split custody. We're going to be spending some weeks with Hydaelyn and some weeks with Zodiark. No,
so
I
we're going
think
to be the Warriors of Grayness.
I think Zodiark's been ruled an unfit parent or something.
How many shades do you think we'll get?
No. I am cutting that off right now. And I'd like to throw in, if people do have questions for other subjects we'd like to do this kind of review on, get straight what we know, what we don't know, what we speculate and what we a lot of the common things that we think we know but turn out to not actually be confirmed yet, I am happy to do this kind of review for other topics. It helps us get a firm footing as we're going forward.
Now, I believe a lot of this came from a Twitter thread that we got from Dan Sanders 1. Is that correct?
Oh no, so
or
this,
was that a different one?
That was a different topic. He was asking a little bit about necromancy in the FF14 setting.
So I do see him talking about some of the light and darkness stuff here too.
Yes, that was something that was touched on a bit. So Hydaelyn and Zodiark are of these light and dark aspects, but neither it is important to remember that, especially in this setting, light is not necessarily morally good, and dark is not necessarily morally evil.
They're just two sides of the same coin, really.
Well, yeah, but yeah, something like that. So that phrase has always felt a little glib to me, and it doesn't quite sum up what I want to get across here. How would I say it? It's something where, like, for instance, Dark Knights, who use what's described as kind of a dark power to it. They're not necessarily evil, but they are using this dark, destructive force, and it's only through the power of love, of having something to tame it, that they do not lose themselves to it. But it is something where they are using this type of power towards good ends. They're using it to enact justice for those who otherwise would not be able to get it. Pretty much, this concept of light and dark is not necessarily a concept of good and evil. In terms of Hydaelyn being light aspected and Zodiark being dark aspected, and Hydaelyn being way more on our side than Zodiark is, but that's not something inherent to light and dark. That's something of the specific situation that we find ourselves in.
Two different types of energy in that case.
Something like that. It's like the metaphysics of this is a little weird.
Yin and yang kind of thing?
Ish?
Just trying to come up with something real life that we can compare it to.
Yeah.
Do you think that we're going to see Zodiark in the future? Because technically we still haven't seen it.
I would be surprised if we don't see it eventually.
I feel like it's not going to be this expansion, but the next one.
Yeah, I would be surprised if we didn't eventually, but I have no idea when that might be. This is not
a slightly darker crystal
on the moon.
It's on the moon.
So then the thread that I referenced in Twitter from Dan Sanders 1 may be something you'll be discussing as a lore topic in an upcoming episode?
That one was mostly had a couple quick questions about some stuff. I don't know that there's enough for a full thing there, but if we're ever doing short topics, I could throw that in.
All right. Sounds cool. Anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Not right at the moment. As I said, if there's other remedial topics that people have questions on, stuff to get you situated as we're going into Shadowbringers, stuff that you're, especially if you decide, or stuff where you do the New Game Plus, you go through different parts of the scenario and see things that you didn't remember before, or want to say, hey, how does this fit into what we understand now? I always appreciate those requests. I always appreciate being able to provide a topic that you are going to be interested in. And yeah, I actually really like doing these reviews, in part because it gives me a chance to put together, okay, what do we actually know? What are we working with? It gives a chance to organize a lot of those thoughts. When you go back and review your old notes, your old understanding, oftentimes you can put it in the context of what you've learned since then, and you get new discoveries out of it. So yeah, never hesitate to ask. Even the old stuff often gives us some new insights.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that. I hope you guys all enjoyed it as much as I did. I thought that was really good.
So what we learned today, everyone, is that Hydaelyn is a crystal that rides on the back of a scorpion, and then they shattered, and each shattered crystal has a version of Lava Scorpion, and one day they will merge and become Super Lava Scorpion. That's what we learned today.
D-.
E for effort.
Each calamity was brought by Zodiark doing different things. The water one was him having a bath. The earthquake was...
D-. minus.
He's gonna make...
Like, I don't want you in my next year, but I don't know how much more I can lower your grade.
All right.
The Earth one was him moving to his volcano home. Then the cold one was because he left the area, so things got cold. We all learnt today.
I don't want to know what the wind one was.
He had chili that day. But
And then when Bahamut, he saved us from Bahamut, and now he rests in his palace in the volcano.
Praise love.
Welcome to Lore with Chille.
Most of that was not canon.
And all of that came right off of the top of Chille's head.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Well, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. If you liked what you heard, please make sure to like, subscribe, or follow us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcatcher is. And if possible, leave us a rating or review. It helps others find us and helps us to grow out in the community. And if you really dig the show, you can consider subscribing here at Twitch at twitch.tv/PhoenixDownRadio. Help us to unlock more emotes available. The more subs we get, the more emote slots we're going to have available. And we love sharing all those cool emotes with you. If we hit our, 50 sub points by May, we're going to be able to get a Chille emote. So help us get that goal, because we all want Chille, right? We all need more Chille in our lives.
Now. Seyrr's like, no more Chille.
You're just encouraging him.
Or you can consider becoming a patron out at patreon.com/PhoenixDownRadio. Any proceeds
we all know we are a Seyrr emote. Well, another one anyway.
Yeah, we're going to be doing some rearranging of the emotes if we are able to unlock all of the different slots.
Clearly, you need an emote to my hands. Huh, that's not a bad idea.
Anyway.
Anyways.
You consider being a patron out at patreon.com/PhoenixDownRadio, like our amazing friend Aurori Fenrir. Like I said, all these proceeds go towards growing the show, improving the quality of the show, cover hosting costs, and allow us to do giveaways and things like that as well. But whatever kind of support, whether it's emails, likes, retweets, follows, subs, or whatever, it's always greatly appreciated. We love interacting with you guys and the rest of the community. If you want to check out our backlog of shows, you can go to our website, PhoenixDownRadio.com. If you have a question or want to suggest a lore segment, you can go to email us, podcast@PhoenixDownRadio.com, or shoot us a message out at Twitter at PHXDNRadio. And if you're listening to us on the podcast, come join us live sometime at twitch.tv/PhoenixDownRadio. Shout outs.
I'll go ahead and start. I'd like to shout out to all my friends who gave me support and encouragement while I've been doing the job interview circuit the last week.
Also, congratulations on that, Seyrr.
I mean, I don't actually have the job yet, so...
Yeah, but still, going out and doing that is still tiring and...
Yeah.
You know.
Putting yourself out there is hard. Also, big shout out to Flatus from Maelstrom Radio, who I joined a little bit earlier for a segment he's doing on mental health issues. He's doing some really great work, and definitely check that out at Maelstrom Radio. Shout out to my amazing co-hosts. I don't want to say amazing because I just said amazing. That's repetitive, but you're great people. You've been really encouraging throughout this whole thing, and I love working with you.
And where can they find you?
So you can find me on my Twitter at FFXIVSEYRR, where I mostly tweet about interesting things that I cooked and weird stuff that I found while working at the library.
And we feel the same about you.
Which apparently people like. Huh.
I was going to say, we feel the same about you as well, so thank you for that. Chille, and please, we're going to ask you nicely, please do it at a normal speed.
Yeah, no one can understand you when you go that fast.
Aww.
You have plenty of time, sir.
Fine. A shout out to SheHillsITank at twitch.tv/SheHillsITank. A shout out to Maelstrom Radio. Go check them out. As Seyrr said, they're doing an amazing show coming up soon, hopefully. Go check out Moogle Go Round, twitch.tv/Moogle Go Round Radio, where we'll be having Gather Together on at the end of the month. Also, there's a talks of a Mione appearing eventually.
Ooh.
So go check us out soon. Also, go check out Gather Together, Musecast, State of the all your favorite podcasts that talk about the Final Fantasies. Those are some stuff. And also shout out to Small Pants, who sat right next to me. Yay, our new co-host. He can replace me.
No, you can't.
You will be my replacement.
Sorry, nobody can replace you, Chille. And what about your other podcasts? in
Yeah,
your
that's
regular
fine.
job.
Go check out Phoenix Down Radio at twitch.tv/Phoenix Down Radio or phoenixdownradio.com.
And where can they find you?
That's another podcast I'm on, right?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Tell me,
It's true.
tell me, Strong Small Pants. Is that what I'm supposed to say? Yeah. Okay. Praise the Scorpion.
And where can
Strong
they
with
find you?
small pants is just like kicking his legs back and forth. He's enjoying life there.
Yeah, he is.
Chille, where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me at MGR_Chille. Remember to tweet me. Yeah, it's you two as well. Remember, because it's a different podcast, so you guys can tweet me as well. Hashtag Nico Meowta for a chance to win one of 2 Fat Cat minions. Mounts, not minions, mounts.
Mounts. All right, and I want to shout out to my amazing co-hosts, Seyrr and Chille. You guys really do make this worth doing every show. Shout out to Nick Nar, Yelta, Saito, and his wife, and Yelta's husband, Ulf, for joining me at Distant Worlds. I had an amazing time. Really hope to be able to do it again soon. Please come back again, Distant Worlds. It was so much fun. Shout out to Kane.
I forgot to say, if you're going to KupoCon this year, I'm buying tickets next week. Well, when they go live. So please look forward to it.
Okay. Shout out to Kane, who's going to be joining me at Anime Detour in 3 weeks. March 29th through the 31st at the Hyatt Regency in downtown Minneapolis. If you are interested in going, you'll be able to get tickets at the door. I believe they still will have some available there. And like I said, I'll be doing my panel on Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Hopefully streaming it here at twitch.tv/Phoenix on Radio, but for sure I will be recording it and putting it up as a video and podcast, special podcast. So look forward to that. Shout out to Luna. Hope you are doing well. And you can, if you want, you can find me out at PHXDN_KLAUSS. So, for my co-hosts, Seyrr Tomono, for Chille, I am Klauss Nightbringer, wishing everybody a wonderful evening. Thanks for joining us. Take care.
Phoenix Down Radio is a production of PhoenixDownRadio.com and Illusion Productions. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. In-game content for Phoenix Down Radio is the copyright of Square Enix. Opening music for Phoenix Down Radio is provided by Guilty Gear Rock You. Check out the Metal Chocobo theme cover and many other music videos at youtube.com/Guilty Gear Rock You. Closing music for this episode is provided by Guitar Wanker 90. Please check out their full version of Matoya's Cave and other rock video game covers at youtube.com/Guitar Wanker 90. The views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of Phoenix Down Radio and its hosts and do not reflect the views of Square Enix.